Seattle is about to get a new city dump. Just don't call it that in front of Ken Snipes, Deputy Director for Solid Waste for Seattle Public Utilities.
So the new transfer station is much safer than the old facility.
Okay, transfer station. And SPU is building a brand new one in Wallingford that will open later this year. It's another example of the City of Seattle's innovative approach to serving the public and caring for the environment.
And what this does for us is it allows us to modulate the amount of rainwater leaving the facility as it enters the stormwater system.
This green roof and dozens of solar panels are just two of the environmentally friendly features of the North Transfer Station. It's also designed to be safer than the old transfer station it replaced.
So the two separate entrances make it much safer for people using the facility. So what it does is it separates the larger commercial vehicles from the smaller self-haul vehicles.
About that term, city dump, the new North facility and this similar one built a few years ago in the south part of town are called transfer stations because all kinds of different waste, trash, grass clippings, recyclable materials, are brought to a central location for sorting and are then transferred elsewhere.
With the advent of multiple recyclable categories, you need more space to separate those things and to categorize them for shipment out of the facility. So right now we're standing on the tipping floor, which is roughly 60,000 square foot, and that's about twice as large as the old station.
What makes Seattle's modern-era transfer stations remarkable is that it wasn't so long ago that waste around here was handled a little differently.
It used to be called a Mont Lake dump, and then when Lake Washington was lowered in 1916, mud flat appeared and people started filling, and it's been variously a city landfill and a rubbish tip, and all of this is fill.
Garbage was brought in and literally dumped on the ground to fill in wetlands, to create usable dry land. The Mont Lake dump stopped accepting garbage in 1964, but it took a long time to cover up decades of trash with a layer of soil. Even now, more than 50 years after the dump closed, reminders of the past occasionally pop up.
Well, in some places, the material in the dump actually just rises, like spare tires.
But over time, with help from the University of Washington, and more recently from the Washington State Department of Transportation, the old dump has transformed into an incredible natural area.
And even in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of change because trees and shrubs that we planted have started to mature and it looks like a different place.
The city operated landfills in different places all over town. In West Seattle, along Harbor Avenue, where an industrial area now serves a busy port with railroad tracks and access to Elliott Bay. Along 15th Avenue Northwest in Inner Bay, what was once a dump is now a golf course. And the South Transfer Station was built a few years ago on the site of, you guessed it, a former landfill. The old South Transfer Station building is actually still standing, not far from the one that replaced it. It's likely to be torn down in the next year or so. Back in Wallingford, the site of the North Transfer Station was never a landfill, but it's been public property for more than 100 years. In 1915, the city built a huge barn there called the Edgewater Municipal Stables. Horses that pulled water department and engineering department wagons lived here in equine splendor. And while you won't see horses around Wallingford anymore, the new transfer station will include plenty of places for horsing around.
There's a park that's going to be associated with the facility. There's also a ball court and that sort of thing. And these are just things that make it easier for the facility to integrate into the neighborhood.
Like so many Seattle neighborhoods these days, Wallingford is changing. For Ken Snipes, the new North Transfer Station is about striking a balance.
So this is the sound wall, and what it does for the community is it deflects sound away from the community back over towards the site. I think the overall thing to remember about this facility is that it allows us to be much better neighbors with all the features that we've incorporated into the facility. And I think it's going to be a facility that the community and the city in general can be proud of.
Watch CityStream Thursday nights at 7 on the Seattle Channel, or get video on demand and podcasts anytime at seattlechannel.org.